October is Transport Month in South Africa and was declared as such in 2005 during the Transport Lekgotla. It is used to raise awareness on the important role of transport in the economy and to encourage participation from civil society and business, including the provision of a safe and more affordable, accessible and reliable transport system in the country. But significant challenges such as tax inefficiencies, road accidents, traffic congestion and regulatory hurdles inhibit the sector's full potential. Joining us now virtually to discuss this is Dr Alex Malapane, multidisciplinary researcher who authored and co-authored more than 15 peer-reviewed papers published internationally covering the fields of Internet of Things, artificial intelligence and the fourth industrial revolution. Dr Malapane, very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning and good morning to all the viewers across the country.
You know, Dr. Malapane, I went through an article that you wrote just a few days ago, aptly titled October Transport Month, a catalyst for change in South Africa's economic landscape. And I was quite intrigued by how you articulated how road network improvements impact economic and tourism sectors. Let's now broaden this conversation by discussing just how improving road infrastructure generally impacts economic growth at a national or even regional level.
No, thank you so much. I think our economy is actually driven by transportation or transport, because transport is responsible for making sure that goods and people are transported across. So it has a greater impact actually into the economy because it drives the day-to-day, I will say, operations of the country. So without transport, for example, people won't be able to go to work, essential services will be disrupted, the market itself will be disrupted. So transport in its entirety plays a bigger role in the economy, and without proper transport system, our economy will not grow at the rate that we are expecting or we want it to actually grow at. So we need to understand that transportation is very important. And in this month, I believe that the government should be able to actually champion these dialogues and also find solution on how can we improve our transport system, especially in looking at how it contributes immensely on the economy.
Yeah, and you made an observation in your article that traffic congestion costs the South African economy about 1.3 billion rand annually in lost productivity, with heavy delays in the movement of goods and services. And you also suggested reducing the volume of cars on the roads during peak hours would significantly reduce road maintenance costs, fuel consumption and emissions. So broadly speaking, how do improved road networks then reduce transport costs, and how does that translate into broader economic gains?
All right, thank you so much. I think COVID-19 has actually shows that it's impossible. I mean, it's possible actually to reduce, cars on the road, more especially for people that can work from home. For example, I'm a researcher by profession, so I can actually do my job remotely without actually having to, spend 2 hours going to work and hour coming back from work. So if we are actually, as a country, strategically begin to see how the impact of traffic actually costs us, we should be able to get it right. So what we should be starting to encourage is people can start working from home completely 100%. I mean, there's no need for somebody to go sit in the office, have a meeting virtually, communicate with colleagues via telephone or communicate with colleagues via Zoom or any other means. So those things, those are some of the underlying reasons why, there are delays on the road. I mean, if you have seen the peak hour, especially in the morning between Johannesburg and Pretoria, yes. My goodness, if you didn't wake up around 5 o'clock, you're not going to make it at work on time. So that is the time that we can reduce significantly as the country. And I think, for example, some of these things, if we reduce and we are able to actually reduce the traffic on the road, we should be able to have less maintenance on the road, because
absolutely
few cars that are essential, we should be able to be on the road. So they will be able to cut cost on, maintenance. They will cut cost on accidents. They will cut cost, on, other things that really take up the space, especially during congestions. And especially when you try to open these things, you will be opening, access to markets where essential goods and services will be able to render. I mean, the transportation of freight, the transportation of, courier, and all those things will not be delayed. And, of course, some of these things, because of the macro level and the way they are structured, some sectors are actually impacted heavily because of these things. So we need to begin to see how can we reduce volumes on our roads, and how can we actually keep other people that can work from home totally remote, 100%, and begin to see, how we can thrive, the economy of the country. And of course, this will also increase accessibility to, remote tourism destination, as you already mentioned. Talking about those heritage tourism sites,
yes.
Talking about those game reserves, that are a little bit far, and all those things. And of course, improving also our road condition, because I think our roads are overburdened. That's why we have a lot of potholes, we have a lot of low maintenance and all that, because we just don't have money and budget to fix the road effectively at the rate at which we are going.
Yeah, you just mentioned tourism, which is another key economic growth driver, directly contributing about 3.7% to South Africa's GDP. So from your observations, how do tourist travel patterns change when road quality is enhanced in a region, of course, and how does road infrastructure affect the length of stay and spending behavior of tourists?
It may not be an immediate realization, or one cannot necessarily take it out right now. But what you need to understand is that once the roads are actually maintained properly, and you don't have you don't have accidents, you don't have a lot of delays on the road and the congestions, that give access and mobility for tourists to go to all these attractions. I will give an example. If a tourist come from UK and they want to travel between Johannesburg and Pretoria, and their itinerary start early in the morning around 8 o'clock, they're not going to make it on time.
Yes.
And that affects the spending, because they should have been maybe able to enter 3 or 4, tourist attraction sites, spend money, buy goods, or buy, ticket for entries and all those. So it's a whole, lot of issues that are affected by this. So the spending is then curtailed or reduced, the stuff that could have been happening, the routes that they should have taken, or all those things impact on the spending directly. So there is a whole lot of issues that really affect them to spend more and, grow the economy in terms of the contribution that comes directly from tourism.
Of course, and we certainly cannot have this conversation in greater detail without mentioning the government. And having said that, how can the government then balance the cost of road infrastructure projects with the expected economic benefits, especially in developing regions?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that for government should actually take stands on a number of issues. One of them is those that are working in government space and they can do their work from home, let them stay at home and do their work from home.
Okay.
By reducing that, significantly, you are reducing the number of accidents, as I've already said. You are reducing a number of, how many times or at what rate actually the road should be maintained. So that money will be then be saved, to properly put the road in a condition that will be conducive for us. So there are a number of things that, government can come up with, policies that really encourage people from working from home. Our roads are not, especially in cities, are not stretched enough to accommodate the traffic and accommodate the economic activities that are taking place. So we need more guidance in terms of lead in terms of policies, especially where government could take a stance. Government also hires a lot of people, especially in the CBDs where municipalities are sitting, provincial government offices are staying. And also, even if you look at Pretoria, we're talking about all national government department in that particular area. So these are remote work, people that can work remotely. Secondly, we have to also look at our roads. The quality of our road is not too good compared to our counterparts, especially in other countries. Well, regionally, we might be doing well, but that is not actually supposed to be like that. We are supposed to be doing well entirely,
All right.
The roads conditions are bad, and the municipalities also take time to...
Unfortunately, we're out of time, Dr. Malapane, but thank you so much for broadening our perspective on, our road infrastructure, our road networks, insofar as, enhancing, our economic spin-offs as a result of such networks. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, helping us provide a comprehensive view of how road network improvements impact economic and tourism sectors is Dr. Alex Malapane, who is a multidisciplinary researcher and entrepreneur, as we're paying tribute to our Transport Month, which is in October.